Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. The border is being overrun, people. The border looks like a constant holiday Black Friday sale, except they're getting our jobs at 90% off. Yep, the immigrants are taking all of our fruit picking and ditch digging jobs. Landscaping and asbestos removal employment is being taken by these aliens. What will Connor and Madison do to make a living with all these immigrants taking their jobs from the Home Depot parking lot? To be clear, immigration has been a problem for ever. Ask a Native American. In 1986, Ronald Reagan finally did something. The Immigration Reform and Control Act. Reagan said, the law will go far to improve the lives of a class of individuals who now must hide in the shadows without access to many of the benefits of a free and open society. Very soon, many of these men and women will be able to step into the sunlight, and ultimately, if they choose, they may become Americans. Wow. For Reagan, that was almost Christ-like, if Christ had hair like Bob's Big Boy. These illegal aliens who'd been unlawfully residing in the United States since before January 1st, 1982, this is what the bill did, they were made legal. Nearly 3 million people were legalized citizens under the IRCA. Of course, that was when Republicans did something. They had policy and elected people who had high school diplomas and didn't jerk off their dates in a packed theater. So, the GOP has been hammering Biden with the border.
Texas has the right to defend itself against the migrant invasion.
And they're using the Constitution as a weapon.
So, the Biden administration started negotiating on a new immigration bill. That's right. They bitched long enough, and now he's doing it. It's being called the most conservative bill in 40 years. The $118 billion package reduces record high crossings at the southern border, and it makes the asylum system so much harder to manipulate. The agreement, reached by Senators James Langford, who is a Republican, Chris Murphy, who is a Democrat, and Kristen Sinema, and I don't know what the hell she is this week. Anyway, the agreement was done, and Biden said he would sign it because the Republicans won't shut up about the border.
Will you shut up, man? Listen,
And then Sweet Potato Hitler got involved and told the Speaker of the House to not pass it because we can't help Biden. So while people die on the border, while our broken immigration system languishes, while Ukraine waits for our promised help against Putin, the Republicans again do absolutely nothing. And be clear, people, the border bill is done. It was negotiated on by Republicans. But it may make the country work better. It may fix a problem. And that is not what Republicans do. But they used to. Eisenhower, Reagan, even W tried to pass comprehensive immigration reform. W's own party voted against it. You get that, right? Republicans got what they asked for. And in fact, on this new bill, the Border Patrol Union came out for it. More agents, more security. And then the Republicans just killed it because it might give the other party a win.
Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
So now the GOP is going to take blame for killing the border bill. The one they asked for and they wrote. I don't even. You know, the Republican Party is the only group of people I've ever seen play Russian roulette with 6 bullets in the gun. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. My God, I can't believe I've never seen a group of people just shoot themselves in the face over and over and over. They say they want it, but you're okay. You want to fix it, we'll do it. It's going to suck. We're going to hate it, but we'll do it anyway. What do you mean, no? What are you guys, nuts? Hey everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. How you doing? With me as always, the lovely Bombshell Ray.
I don't know where to look now because hey, what's up, people?
And the Highlander.
There can be only one.
Back in my old spot, baby.
We switched. We have a guest today, so you've gone to the chair, and we have the guest chair.
Yep.
That's what we do. I'm stunned. I guess I'm not stunned. When it comes to the Republicans doing what they always do, they've been bitching about the border since. Since we closed Trump's concentration camps, basically. Wait, you can't close the camps? So we closed all the camps. And then they're saying that we're being overrun. Did you know that's not true, though? Actually, Obama deported more than Trump did. And Biden's just a little bit, he's not even that much under. But
fake news.
So they're saying that, and by the way, Biden has said too, that it's a problem. We need to fix it. So they worked together for how many, like from a month and a half now at least?
Yep.
Bipartisan bill, 320-page bill. It's also covering the money that we've promised to Ukraine to help them fight Putin. It's also promising money to Israel. And the Republicans saying, we if you don't pass this, we're going to, remember how they were bitching? If you don't pass this, you guys, you don't want the border thing, you're liberals, blah, blah, blah. So Biden says, I'll pass it.
Oh, here's what they do. They always point out something else that's in the bill. Oh, you're trying to sneak in something else.
No, they didn't, though. They just said, no, it's dead. It's dead on arrival. And then they said this. Here's the excuse I heard today. Oh, Biden can do if he wants. He can just do an executive order. Yeah, but an executive order is not binding. And the second he's not president anymore, it goes away. So what are you guys talking about? Yeah. So we give them everything they want, to the point where Republican senators came out and said, this is last week. Langford. They said, this is the most, do this now because you can already tell they're worried about what's going to happen in the next election. Because if we don't have the majority, we'll never get something like this passed again. And Mike Johnson, who's got less balls than Kevin McCarthy, which I find hilarious because McCarthy got taken out because he had balls. He said, no, we're not doing it. And they,
I mean, that's a stretch.
Well, compared to Mike Johnson, to Where's Waldo? Because Mike Johnson got a call from Trump. Trump said, we don't want this bill. So now they've killed it. It's dead now.
Because that was what I was saying. Because Trump truthed about it and told them not to do it, and so now we're doing nothing. Did you listen to the press conference today? Though this is not a great moment for Biden.
Why?
I was in the living room.
I did listen to it. I thought it was fine.
When he took questions.
Oh, I was listening to it. I wasn't looking at it.
Oh, okay. He got stuck kind of on a loop.
Great, we've got two guys with dementia. We got two guys that can't finish a fucking sentence.
One of them is good and one of them is evil.
There you go. And by the way, I was went to the car show, went to took Jordan to the Grand National Roadster show, and I was asking, I'm watching lines now at the Boost car parts, and that's a luxury, right? Guys building hot rods and stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
So we were at the SoCal Speed Shop booth, and I was talking to one of the guys who I've met before, and I was like, so how's things going? He goes, man, it's crazy. Everyone's buying parts. It's crazy. And I said, so the economy's booming. He goes, it's insane.
Right.
And then I go, I don't care what you believe politically. Don't we just want this to continue? He goes, oh yeah, I don't care either. Just keep this going.
And that's a lot of Republicans, right?
Red guys. Yeah. That's why I didn't want to bring up who I was for. He was like, I want to go, don't we just want this to continue?
He wasn't trying to get his ass kicked in Pomona last Saturday.
Car show. Because you can't bang me off a car. They're really nicely painted. So what? So he was fumbly over questions. Are they going to play it all day long?
He actually got.
I think you're looking for this with him, though.
I'm not. I want him to not be, because I really like him and I think his administration has done a great job. Yeah. I mean, stock market is gangbusters right now.
Record.
Yeah, I know. And the economy, I mean, every CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the infrastructure. I mean, it's insane.
Well, Fox had to admit
we
it.
actually have the leading recovery economy in the world of everyone
and the least
after
inflation.
the pandemic.
And the least inflation.
And the lowest inflation. And people are still saying, I think Trump would do a better job at the economy.
But you're right. That's the only thing. That's what the right cares about.
Based on
if
what?
Biden mumbles or fumbles a fucking consonant,
that's why
the right is all over it. It's that Hunter Biden and the border.
But then you play Trump sing and they're like, well, he got off track.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He just made a mistake.
By the way, we shouldn't have two guys that between them can't do a push-up. Although I believe Biden can do a push-up. He can ride a bike.
Yeah, he
By the way,
rides
that should be the
Peloton.
basic test. He can bike, and he did the cold plunge too.
He and Jill are in great shape.
But then again, maybe the cold plunge, maybe he didn't know.
You can mumble and do push-ups at the same time.
He pushed him in.
It was Gavin Newsom. Oh, what happened? I don't know.
I really like him, and I really think, and I'm making this up based on nothing, that he would rather, we have proof that he really likes his family. He likes his wife. He likes his kids and his grandkids, even the crack out one, and I think he would like to be in retirement and drive his Corvette and enjoy his life.
Which he can't do anymore because he's 80.
He can't. Yes, he can.
Do you guys understand that? Like, he decided not to run. He was done. He was VP.
Yeah.
He said it, but he didn't want to do it
with one like this.
Yeah.
The first black president. He was. I was the VP. Like, I'm in history.
Yeah.
Like
he mumbled "fuck,"
and I'm not. And then Trump. That you know damn well. They sat around and went, "You have to. There's nobody. This guy's a psycho."
And now he can't leave in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I'll say this: the speech was good. I didn't hear the questions.
I missed the speech. I saw the question.
The speech was really good. He was solid. He talked about what they're doing. He talked about what they needed, and it was clean. And then he got to questions and what happened in questions.
He got stuck and then said, I don't want to, I'm messing up my words. And then tried again and it just went on and on and on.
He didn't say the Continental Army stormed?
No,
No,
thank God.
Okay, good.
They stormed the airports.
and they did whatever they had to do. That was how he wrapped it up. They did whatever they had to do.
He ends that with everything.
That's what Trump said. God.
We just had a landmark verdict come in on my way here. Were you listening to this? I find this so interesting that Ethan Crumbley's mother was found guilty on all 4 counts.
Wait, the
kid that shot up the school. It's the first time we've ever had parents held accountable.
They bought him the guns.
Yeah.
They bought him the gun and the school called and said, come get him. He's nuts. And they didn't.
He drew a picture of him shooting a bunch of other students with the gun you bought him.
Right.
So can you kid him? Can you go pick him up? Nah, he's good. He does that all the time.
Yeah, we don't really want to hang out with him. He's an asshole.
Oh, yeah, they're like, am I in the picture? Does it say mom and dad in the picture? No, then we're good.
Click. So it's interesting because I just wonder about prosecutors all over the country now who have cases on their caseload or might be looking retroactively at cases that now you can hold. What about the Newtown guy's mom? Remember, it was her gun guns that he used. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing.
I wonder. Here's the problem. We all have liability laws for products, right? Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of products that if it goes bad, they recalled 200,000 Teslas or Toyotas.
Yeah.
Yep. Like they do it every day because maybe possibly the hood might pop up and maybe accidentally.
Yeah.
Yet the NRA has made it so Colt and Smith & Wesson, they are totally exempt from being sued. I find that insane.
Well, that whole NRA thing is falling. It's
crumbling,
coming to trial, and Wayne LaPierre has stepped down, and Letitia James is going to take a lot of people out before she leaves office.
Yeah,
but that's a big deal because so many mass and school shooters are like young boys, and it's like a Kyle Rittenhouse, and they all get
100%.
They get it from their parents, and if the parents are protected, and it's hard to prosecute the kids because of whatever, blah blah blah. But including the parents now, that should
suddenly parents might get involved. I'm interested to see how Republicans react to this because obviously they want no gun legislation, but the hill that they're always willing to die on is people don't parent anymore.
Yeah.
Parents don't raise their kids right and they put them on drugs and whatever. So now it's like, well, what are you going to do, bro? Because now we're holding parents accountable, and it's in the same vein as your idea that you've had for 30 years of making people insure their weapons.
Yeah, if you have to,
because it's personal accountability.
You need gun insurance. You need to, just like car registration, you have to requalify every year. You have to, and I also believe this is how we get the, I said it before, people, we could actually have a well-regulated militia. So we'd have a silver, gold, and platinum level shooters. You have like shooting range, like a DMV, and you get to go in. And that what would happen was, if the government could test you, you'd be like, oh, I'm a platinum level shooter. And then you'd have a card, and then you'd feel like, then you take responsibility instead of, yeah, man, they're going to take my guns away, and then it ain't happening, 1776. Like they don't even know what. They just think they just think that's how much bullets cost.
Still long lines and super slow service.
Exactly.
Nice. People like my brother.
I didn't even think about all the shootings that would happen in the gun DMV.
People like my brother all day long. I'm fine with it.
They wouldn't let guns in the gun DMV.
I made an appointment.
You'd have to use a gun that was in there because like, no, I'm not letting you psychos come in with your guns. Fuck you guys.
all the photos are like they're what's the one with the prison photo?
Mugshot?
The mugshot. They're all mugshot style.
And also, there's another ruling today that Trump doesn't have immunity. The DC Circuit said that. So now he has 1 week to take it to the Supreme Court because they want the case to go to trial.
They took a long time to write this decision.
But it was unanimous.
And it's interesting because people were getting scared. Neil Katyal, other attorneys were saying, this is scary. It's gone so long that they're now moving that trial off the docket. And looks like Alvin Bragg's might come first.
So to be clear, Trump has no presidential immunity that if you commit a crime. Again, here's the thing. With the gun thing, banning books, it seems to me, to a fault, Democrats are overthink. We overthink. We over worry. Is everyone going to be covered? And I think that's a virtue, and it's a double-edged sword, as is. But the Republicans, they never think it through. Okay, so Trump has 100% immunity. Okay, if that's true, and that gets ruled on by the Supreme Court, and we set a precedent that a president can crime and not get in trouble, that means Biden's going to be president till he's 96, and Trump's dead.
They're so dumb.
And then
Biden could be dead and still president.
If he wins,
he may be.
If he wins, that argument that he wants to win, that means Biden could then have SEAL Team 6 shoot him, and nobody could do anything to Biden.
Right.
These freaking morons.
But that's what I mean. They don't just like, and you talk about parenting. I was just going to say about that. You said they're always talking about parenting. Guns. It's parents' fault. It's a mental illness problem. But they don't think. They think. But then you think, if you believe in that, then why would you ban books? Why wouldn't you just have parents make sure you check what your kids read?
We have to do it because the parents aren't doing it. That's why.
But you said that wait, you said
I don't
that
go off what I said before. I go off what I want to say right now.
That's exactly it. I know what I said before, but I didn't say it. What?
The truth is not the truth. When they first said that during Trump's administration, we were all like, what? And now I think about that.
Alternative truths.
All alternative facts.
Alternative facts.
Kelly, what's her face, said that. And I thought, what? And now it just keeps coming up. Yep. The truth is not the truth. So they've pulled off that one case from the docket because it was supposed to go in March.
Which one is this?
The January 6th one.
Great, the most important one.
That's the one
where
with
he
Judge
tried
Chutkan.
to overthrow the government. You know what? Let's push that one off.
Alvin Bragg, I think, is moving into first place. Isn't it crazy when you have a guy running for president and you're like, hold on, his 6 court cases have now shifted.
And said he wants to be a dictator.
The one where he paid off the porn star with your money that you sent in to help him run for president because he was banging her while his wife gave birth. That's the case that's moving into first place. You evangelical Christians.
But so it's weird that after all the stuff he's done, stealing top secret documents, we found out there was another this week. We found out Jack Smith found out that there was another room at Mar-a-Lago that was a hidden room that they were keeping stuff in. So it's so after all the shit he's done, insurrection, the document thing, doesn't the porn star thing seem kind of like
But that's the trick, right? We're becoming so desensitized.
Right.
10 years ago, if we had a guy in office that shit his diapers, he would have been out instantly. But this guy, we're like,
if he farted on a mic, not shit his diapers.
That was Giuliani. Trump.
Giuliani did that.
You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that we are just like, no, we're going to overlook that because there's this bigger thing. Well, then it's just death by 1,000 cuts. We just keep moving closer to just being like, whatever. It's too much. We can't keep up with it.
In 1940, if you had, Hitler slapped his maid.
Right.
Hitler.
Exactly. Assassinated.
He's killed a lot of people. We're at like 5.9 million people now. He slapped somebody? Yeah, you're right. I think we we've lost his integrity. I brought up the Bober again in the Armageddon update. It's just...
That's going well, though.
Yeah, well, for us, it's going well. So Adam Frisch. So if you guys don't know Boebert, I don't quite understand how someone with a GED got to be elected in the but whatever.
Loopholes.
No, just stupid people. I think the voters, politicians depend on the voters to be dumber than they are. That's what they depend on. But Boebert is switched districts, so she could win because Adam Frisch. Adam
Frisch lost by like 400 and something votes.
Yeah,
last
460.
time. We thought he was going to win.
Yeah, and then so she knows she's getting her because then she's got all this other shit. So she said, "I'm gonna switch districts to a Republican district." Out of in the primary, she came in 6th.
I thought it was 8. I know there's 8 people running, and they were all at a I don't know what it was, like a town hall kind of thing. And these are your evangelical Christians. Raise your hand if you have been arrested and charged or convicted with a crime. And 7 of them raised their
Holy
hands.
shit.
I was like, and then she made a joke. She was one of them and she made a joke about it. Well, do we get to say what it was for?
But this goes back to what you said about 1,000 cuts. If we start to accept that raging criminals should be our leaders, what are we even thinking about anymore? Like, what are we even?
You got a guy in Florida who Venmo'd for an underage girl and brought her across state lines. I mean, it's
Repeatedly.
like, you got Jim Jordan, who kids came forward that weren't kids anymore and said he knew that they were being molested and overlooked it.
And then violated a subpoena.
And still is violating. I mean, it's like, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but this is kind of the new reality of the GOP.
But it's not the new reality. It's funny because thank God for Rachel Maddow, because you go back and I'm reading that book prequel, and you look, this happened before. This happened repeatedly before. And it seems like we go through
How did that end?
It doesn't end well. It ends in a world war. Every time it ends in like things going out of control, then world war, and then we go, holy God, stop. And then what happens? We focus on education again, and that's what happened in the 60s. People became critical thinkers, got aware, and then Nixon got arrested.
First, then we assassinate the good ones.
Right.
And then we kind of
anybody who's doing their job, and we have someone to look up to. That guy's got to go
because we got to go back to the world war.
Was this both of your upsides?
and then what happens is we get criminals.
Okay.
And then like Reagan had an advisor that told him, he said, a educated electorate is impossible to control. And that's when Reagan started. I've said this before. He started shaving down our education system.
I like hanging out with my family. That's not the end of that sentence because there's a caveat, comma, so I can hear what the latest talking points are.
Yeah. And they do parrot them. It's crazy.
Totally. It's the weirdest thing ever because you and I disagree. Everyone that watches knows that. I mean, you get so annoyed with me over certain things. The dogs know that
at home that we disagree.
Oh yeah. Like I will totally piss him off about some issues and vice versa. But my brother suddenly on this trip when he visited, Reagan is not the white Jesus anymore. I noticed, because Reagan gave amnesty. He pointed that out and closed the mental institutions. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah. And also there was something, my brother who, you guys have to go watch the new episode of Knock 'Em Dead. My brother is a guest. He's a federal law enforcement agent. He couldn't say what it was, but really, really interesting. I think my favorite episode yet. And we actually brought him to tears at one point. And my brother's a big, burly.
About how first responders and people that have to show up to bad situations, dealing with death, have to just do their job. And then you got to watch it because it gave me a lot of insight into how important our first responders really are.
It was really compelling. Yeah. It was really good. But I called him a sharpshooter and he was like, actually, I shoot experts. And my brother has a lot of guns. He's always armed.
At 50 yards, 150 out of 150 center mass.
50 yards.
Yeah, he's I don't make him mad.
Yeah. So anyway, but he said this time he thinks as far as guns, he mentioned the mental health. We need stricter laws regarding mental health. I thought that was I'm like, so mental health is starting to be a common thread, but I think it's because they want to blame everything on that.
Exactly.
But also,
they've said that before.
Do you remember the law that was passed when Trump was president? They actually, there's no exemption. If you have a history of mental health, you can still get a gun. And by the way,
for free at a convention.
Even that sentence doesn't sound real. It sounds like a Saturday Night Live bit. Mm-hmm. But that's true. There was a fight about it. You can't restrict guns in any way, shape, or form, but we can restrict books.
Right.
I've never heard that. That's 15 kids died at a school today. Were beaten to death with To Kill a Mockingbird.
What if we restrict
That was only in my household.
Catcher in the Rye has killed 4 children today at a school.
My mom would spank us with whatever was close by, and often To Kill a Mockingbird was. She was an intellectual. So.
And still beating kids' ass. It's awesome. Well, speaking of government going bad, we want to actually...
That's the segue.
Yeah. Hey.
Speaking of shit.
No. I don't mean shit. I'm just saying that we need here. So my thing about government is we have, for some reason, my whole life have sat back and let these people run it.
Right.
You know, and I think Trump did one good thing for this country, which he made people realize how fucking important voting is. We all go, because if we don't, we get to psychopath.
Thank you, Georgia.
Yeah. So he made us really kind of, the people that hate him are more apt to vote now than the people that like him.
And can I ask a quick question about that? Thank you, Stacey Abrams, for that. But where is Stacey Abrams right now? Because about this time before the midterms, all we were hearing about was Stacey Abrams and her grassroots movement. And it worked. Look, we ended up with Warnock and
He's been awful quiet, though. Warnock's been I love Warnock.
The other guy we haven't heard from, and that's why I can't think of his name right now. But we're getting close to another election. Where is Stacey Abrams? We need Stacey Abrams right now to do something. Help.
You know, it's, Ted Cruz tried to put, I think the fame of this gets to people. We live in such a fame-obsessed world more than ever with the social media. And I think Stacey Abrams, I think she became a celebrity. And I hope she's still in her game. But Ted Cruz came out with something. He's trying to pass a bill that makes it so
John Ossoff
makes it so senators don't have to deal with airports anymore. They get special treatment at airports.
My brother brought up multiple times term limits.
Yeah,
definitely.
That was a big thing.
Huge.
She's becoming a Democrat.
No, I was like,
she can't say that.
I was like, yeah. And then I thought, I bet he means them only for Democrats. And then also the insider trading that Nancy Pelosi voted against. Because
she didn't just vote against it. She actually tried to get all her staff to be able to insider trade also. And the one thing, at least you got Democrats bitching about it now. I don't hear any Republicans bitching about the insider trading thing. You shouldn't be able to go to any job, make $192,000 a year, and in 10 years be worth $14 million.
You shouldn't.
And bet on your own job.
You shouldn't be able to do that.
Used to, you didn't go into government to get rich.
Right.
Actually, people were annoyed because they had to leave their fields or their business they had.
Yeah,
and
it's a pay cut.
It was a sacrifice for your country. And then 2 years,
like going to the military, you're doing your job.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You shouldn't go, I'm going to go into government so I can get rich. Millionaires. Dipshit in Colorado, Lauren Boebert, millionaire now. GED, millionaire.
Not just a little millionaire. She's worth like $19 million now.
It's insane.
Or $8 million. It's like she went from having a bankrupt restaurant to being worth like $8 or $18 million.
She's got like a blinged out truck that she can't even get in. She can walk under it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's another dude with the PAC laws. Marjorie Taylor Greene went and spent $120,000 on a new Escalade and called it a campaign vehicle.
Is it armored?
I'd get a McLaren.
For your campaign vehicle?
Yeah.
Vote for me. Sorry.
I'd vote for her.
So let's talk about, we have a guest today. We have someone who's actually running for local government here in California. And we've always been talking about I think, and I didn't used to believe this, but I think that's the way to go. And we've known them for a long time. Her husband's Jeff for a long time. But please welcome to the show, Carmenita Helligar. Yay!
Carmenita is running for California State Assembly District 44.
Hello, beautiful.
So would be representing us, right?
Yes.
In our area.
Yes.
Just so you know, this podcast wasn't like this before until the Trump. We kind of talked about the news, but we didn't talk about politics. And over the 12 years of doing it, I've become this psycho. Like you can't even, like people that are just have that, that people that on the street have that, you know what I think? I don't care what you think. Here's the facts. I'm that. Ask her. I'm annoying as shit now.
Yeah, we didn't actually intend to have a political podcast.
We did not. It was just about what's going on in the world. Yeah.
Right. But our opening one was the Safeway shooting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what was going on then. And then it just went downhill from there.
Well, I first want to thank you for having me during Black History Month.
Yay! Come on, man. By the way, that's why we waited so long.
Right.
We meant to do that.
But I know you know my husband for all of these years.
Yep. We've heard about you since the first day I met your husband. Yep.
And
he likes you, actually. It's
really
likes you.
He's like a cool guy.
He really is.
Keep him. But he comes home. I want to tell you how I heard about you. He comes home and he says, babe, it's this comedian whose parents can get with yours. And I was like, what? And he says, like, you gotta look him up. Like, this is years ago.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta look him up. I'm like, I'm hearing the stories. I'm like, oh, that's my soulmate. Because Jeff has these wonderful parents and wonderful siblings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I have the parents, right?
Are they alive?
So my dad isn't.
Okay.
Worst person. Okay. My mom is. Right now, she's clean. Okay.
Oh, good.
Right.
Good.
My siblings, whew, like
Really?
the stories.
And mine just kind of like, I have one good one, and then one of them committed suicide, and one of them's like in the wind.
Right. So I have those stories. And Jeff, he was ill prepared for my family. Okay.
I was too. I was like, what?
Ill prepared. He was like, what do you mean you don't know where your mother is? Like, he's just like,
Right.
and I'm like, what? Like, you know where your mother? He's like, yes, yes.
That's the funny
I know where
thing.
my
When you
mother is.
live in it,
Yeah.
you think that's normal
Yeah.
because you were like, wait, you know where your mom is? Is
Right.
that a you weirdo?
She used to ask me all the time. She goes, I've never met people like this. Like I would explain,
No.
I don't even know this existed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. And he would
Yeah.
be like, so what do they mean when they're like, they just need $5? Like, is it just the $5? I'm like, they just need the $5. Like, he's like, so are you supposed to mail it to a street corner? Like, he just was sort of like,
Confused.
what is happening?
Yeah.
And then I would feel so bad because he just would be like, I think for the first like 2 years, he thought he was being punked. Like,
Yeah.
I think for the first
Yeah.
couple years, he just was like, did you hire these people? Like, this is not.
I thought his was for comedy or for the show or whatever. Like, surely it's not that bad. He was also going through the divorce. It was at the beginning of the divorce.
So I actually married into a worse family than I was raised.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then
I know.
I started to live inside of that and the things that she did. And my purse was stolen and like my
her
house
family.
was broken into.
Yep.
And I was like, what is happening? I mean, I would lived in
And
a
I'm like,
fight
yeah,
or
that's how
flight.
this goes.
No.
Like, this is like,
No.
I remember saying to Jeff one time, it was something with kids, and he was like, no, kids aren't supposed to go to the liquor store and get the alcohol. Like, they're not supposed to start cigarettes for the parents. And I was like,
Oh, we used to run there and get sick.
what?
When I
Are
was
you
little.
serious?
And he just like no, like
No.
there's an age limit. And
We
I was
lived-
like,
Oh.
We lived in a complex when I was growing up with my father and his second wife. He had 6, his second wife, and I remember it was called it was like an In-N-Out. It was a little convenience store that was part of the complex.
Mhm.
Dad would go, here's $4, go give me a pack of cigarettes, and I would walk. I was 5, 6,
yeah.
because they knew it. I guess there was a window where this 6-year-old's not smoking. Like, all right, it's for his dad.
Yeah. But by 10,
Yeah, I was like, hey, my dad needs more.
You've done pretty well with your kids, though, because my first memory really of your husband was him talking about your youngest, who at what age started her own company and
Okay.
body care products and was selling them.
So I always say that my children are a reflection of where we were in
Yeah.
life. So like my son is a professional basketball player, but he's very scheduled. Like
Yeah,
at that
right,
age,
yes.
I was
He's a
scheduled.
professional.
Yes.
He plays overseas. He's playing
Yeah.
here.
Wow.
So this is what he does. My middle daughter went to school for journalism, but she's really artsy. And then she figured out that Black and brown women were dying on the table giving birth. And so she went, after she finished college, she went and became a doula. So at that time in our lives, we were very, I was trying to be an actress, and Jeff owned his own business, and so our schedule wasn't as tight.
It's funny. So then
So then the baby, though, I hold patents for children's products, and I would go do trade shows. So I would be like, she would only see us setting up a booth, and she would be calling around and running on business. So about 5, she started a lemonade stand, right? It's a cutesy lemonade stand.
Yeah.
So you think. Where we live, she would go to the different stores and say, on Saturday, she made her own little cards, 5, and said, on Saturday, send your customers to get lemonade. And they did. And she would walk down the street to the different beauty salons and say, on Saturday, make sure they come get a drink. And she did, and she made hundreds of dollars.
Because they were like, that is the cutest kid I've ever seen.
With a little card.
Yeah.
Then she takes the money and she says, we have sensitive skin. She wants to know how to make her own soap. By this time, she's 10 turning 11. So we're like, okay. She sits with her sister. They come up with this name, Afterlight Body Care. And we are learning how to make soap from scratch using lye, using this. So she has body butters, face oils. Everyone's like, how do you keep your skin? I'm like, I only use her products. I'm using them all these years.
I used them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's what she does. Now she's in college, and she just packed an order and took it back to her college.
But she would go set up a stand for that. She sets up
a stand, and we did trade shows.
Yeah.
She make
her
money
Instagram.
at it?
Yes.
She's like,
So she doesn't share. She's a baby. She won't share.
She drives a McLaren.
I want to say this. So this goes back to, so my family, I found out, was here since 1638. Tituses were here. We didn't do shit. We don't own a bank. We don't own anything. We haven't built anything. I am the most successful Titus.
You're the peak.
I am the most successful Titus. And not that, I mean, my aunt's worth money. I mean, but when it comes to what I like, they've
like
all been
name recognition,
productive. Yes. And I think it's because when you grow up the way we grew up, and at any moment you always, like, I live, like, she gets really stressed out about danger and stressed out about situations that are going crazy, anxiety about stressful situations. We were raised in it.
He gets calm.
So I just go, no, this is just, I get very calm. The worse
he
it
falls
gets,
apart, the better things are going.
That's me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, so just so you know,
not gonna
the shoe is going to fall.
Yeah.
And just so you know, like, is no one paying attention?
Yeah.
These are great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's like,
you guys see what's coming,
you
right?
see, right?
Yeah,
And he's
everything's
like,
sweet. Yeah, there's money in the
you're
bank, and he's
fine.
going, oh, you are
and he
so
was
naive.
saying that the other day. He was like, I do not understand. He my poor husband. Let me tell. I love this man so much. Listen, he touches my hand the other night. He's like, I don't understand how you deal with forums and attacks and all these things, and then something like, oh, this person wrote this great thing about you, and you're like, nope, it's something about that.
Yeah,
and I said, you're very suspicious.
Yeah, but what do they mean?
You're very suspicious. But I think my life has always been this bipolar life. So in the beginning, I was born into great wealth. My grandfather, named Joe, Irish Catholic, married this young Black woman who comes from sharecroppers and enslavement. And I was born because my father's sister was working for this rich family and would take her little brother over and out pop me. And they were like, what the? But because my father's family were Native American, when my mom was on drugs, when the custody battle came, my grandfather couldn't keep me because they had already passed the Child Indian Act where you have to return them. And so I left from being in a mansion. We own multiple homes. We had an elevator in our home, okay, in Newark, New Jersey, to living in the projects where it's not safe to get on an elevator.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's where
so
you get shot. That's where you get killed.
That's
yeah.
what, right? Because they stop it halfway,
So you went
and
from
then you can jump down.
going up the elevator to your bedroom to not getting an elevator because I might be in a coffin, right?
And so my brain is always like, something's going to happen.
Right.
Man.
Something's going to happen.
Well, I guess
Man,
actually
do I
this
get
is
this. I
just
live with
proof
my
that she would be really
Right.
great at dealing with problems arising. You know,
Well,
like
but also you're right because okay, so you're running for state assembly.
Mhm.
There's 80 members of the state assembly.
Yes.
How many people are running against you in this district?
I think it's like 8.
8.
I think it's
okay.
like 8. But I see.
How's it going?
Well,
And when is it?
so the primary is March 5th.
Okay.
But here's the deal. People only hear about, and I think it's planned, the November ballot.
Of course. They don't want to,
And so if you don't vote in the primaries,
I
and
just
if you don't
started mine
donate
yesterday.
to grassroots,
I haven't filled mine out because I wanted to hear what you had to say.
right? If you don't donate, right, we don't make it through in March,
Right.
which means I'm not on the November ballot,
right.
And so I know that it's a setup in, you know, we've had the majority of Democrats since 1996. I decided to run because I went to Sacramento and I was like, oh, so it's our fault. Like, it's the Democrats' fault. We don't have an excuse
Right.
here in California to not have universal health care,
Right.
universal child care.
Didn't we just get universal health care? Didn't we just get, we got universal insurance.
Insurance.
We got medical insurance.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
we were on it
New
once before.
Mexico has universal child care,
Yeah.
but California doesn't.
And yet we give more, we put more into this economy, into the national economy than any other state.
Help me understand that. How we are at a deficit again, but we send all of our money, as he says, to the sister marrying shoeless states.
Are we a deficit now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're upside down. We're in deficit.
We were not, but
We were
now
not,
we are.
and
But
now we
California is the 4th largest economy in the world before Germany now.
Right.
But we send all that money to
400
different states. It's very much like the United States with other
438
countries.
billion, 438 or 238?
Yeah, I think it's because, so when I decided to run, this guy comes up to me and he says, I mean, I know you care about your district. You're always around. I hear about you. Don't do it. So I was like, why? And he said, you're too good for us. Like, you actually care.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you
that's
actually
what
care.
we need,
And I said, but
though.
he said, so let me tell you what you're up against. He said, Republicans will let you, as a Black person, build all of this power, just not in their neighborhood. And Democrats will say, you can come in our neighborhood, but you will never have a piece of power. And he said, so don't run.
Yeah,
and-
but man.
Okay,
when
so
I got into it, go ahead, sorry.
$68 billion deficit we're going to have to deal with, but I just remembered why. 22-23.
Oh, right.
Writers and actors strike,
yeah.
which was
Oh,
like we
right.
were losing tens
Yes.
of
And the
millions a
pandemic.
day in
But-
LA.
And the pandemic.
This is the thing I always talk about when you're talking about patterns, right? Like how this happened. And so I tell people, I said, how you look at life, you have to look at the patterns and how we get to where we're at. So the reason why we have Trump and the reason why I think we will have him again, let me hear me out, is because Trump came into power.
I'm going to burn some sage.
after
I got to burn some sage right now. Sorry, because you
after
just said
a writer strike.
right. No.
So we had a massive writer strike back then,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody was writing. It was this huge strike. You remember that?
07.
So
Yeah,
then
I lost my
we
TV show
had-
because of it.
We had reality TV, and that's the only thing people were watching. Then from our side of it, once he became, more famous, like more people, like I'm from New Jersey. Everyone
Right.
knows
He had a
about
TV
New
show.
York.
He had a very successful TV
very
show.
Yeah.
So people were just always tuned into that. Then you want to look at now, they're saying you need the Black vote, you need a Black vote. But I want to tell you a personal experience about 2016. Okay. So in 2016, I'm saying my husband, he's really political. He's like, you have to get involved. You have to get involved. You have to get. I'm calling my family members like, hey, we have to get Hillary into office. Like, you have to do this. And so one of my family members, who shall remain, because it ended up being multiple family members, said, "How dare you?" I said, "What do you mean?" And she said to me, "You expect me to go visit your family member on Saturday after this huge 1994 crime bill that her husband and her with the super predator, and then vote for her on Tuesday. How dare you?" And it hit me. How many of my family members are serving 44 years for marijuana? Like, how many of them? So now you fast forward to now, when we have, again, a writer's strike. Everyone's paying attention to the news. Everyone's into these reality shows again. And you have Joe Biden and Trump. And you have Black people who were told, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. Can you imagine someone?
That?
Joe Biden said that.
When did he say that?
He said that when he was running before. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said so.
Can I do something? Okay. So the 94. Now here's what makes me mad about the American population.
Yes.
Across the board. So if you remember in I lived in LA, I moved to LA in 88, 92, 93, 94, 90s, those first 4 years were insane. It was insane here. I mean, the crime was out of control. Crack was out of control. The gangs had started going out to the country. Remember, they started to franchise, and so Clinton had. You got to remember who brought the bill up, and the American public demanded it. Demanded it. Black people too were like, "Get this shit out of my neighborhood." So then it gets passed, and it gets passed with overwhelming support.
Oh yes.
And the sentences were harsh, so then you go. So 94 was it was 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And then you get to today, and you go, well, they did 30 years in prison. Yeah, they got busted for some shit that was. But
if you go in, no,
okay,
because
so tell me where I'm wrong.
Powder,
right, at
the same time was being used, and it wasn't in that crime bill like that. Cocaine.
Oh, right. Right.
So just because it's
Clinton
cooked,
was doing it.
Just because it's cooked,
right,
you had these exorbitant, and it was
agreed.
It was a drug addiction. Right. Now you fast forward, and you have fentanyl, you have oxy, you have all these things. And now it's a health issue. It has always been a health issue.
Right. Agreed.
It should have never been.
Agreed, but don't you have to lay in? But here's the thing: the sins of the father. Yes. At the time, look, society evolves, society gets better. I think since fucking Nancy Reagan said just say no. We remember we were like, all the comedians went, "Oh, thank you God, we have everybody had a just say no bit." So that's how simple people thought it was. Yes, just say no. It's your fault. And then we got to this thing where we're gonna, okay, I know how we'll stop drugs. We'll actually criminalize everything as harshly as we can. That didn't work. So now we're saying, you know what? This is an addiction problem, and they're fighting with brain science. So what bothers me about when someone holds on to something from 94, anybody, what ends up happening is you end up making a decision based in the present time that is a past-based decision. That decision was demanded by the American population. That crime bill was demanded. By the way, politicians don't do shit. If no one wanted it, they wouldn't have done it. Now it's 94. Now it's 2024, and you're thinking, oh, that was wrong. Agreed, but we've also all moved forward as a society. So you can't. So even Biden has said, there's things he did in the past, and he said he regretted that. He was part of it. He regretted it. He regretted it.
Did you see that clip of Sexy Red on Theo Von's podcast? No. The rapper. She was saying that
get cut checks.
Trump cut me checks, and I stayed home, and he let my family out of jail. Let's get him back in office. I mean, it was like very boiled down. I got to do an ad because we haven't done any. So this episode brought to you by Fitbod. I just realized we still need to do ads. Hi guys.
They don't want to get into what you're.
Fitbod, you guys know. his probably favorite thing on the planet, the thing that's made the biggest difference for him. Basically, it's just an app. Have you heard about Fitbod?
I have not.
I'm
It's
in
an
my
app you
second
put
year.
on your phone. He's in his second
Can I
year of
explain?
doing it.
Yes.
Okay, so you put on your phone, like, so working out's always a pain in the ass, right? Like, I have to figure out what am I doing today, which exercise, though I forget, I don't know what to do.
Am I going to the gym?
So this gives me. So what you do is you go in there, gives you, it gives you dates. You can actually do it. You put in what muscles you want to do,
What?
and then it gives you, and
then you put in what
so then-
equipment you
so
have.
I've got tonight. I have to do backs, tris, and abs.
But then
and
you
it-
put in your equipment or no equipment,
Yeah, so
right?
you have nothing. Like you do body weight.
Right.
So the body weight workouts will
Oh,
kick
yeah.
your
of
ass.
course.
And so on the road, when we're on the road, I'll do body work and ask her every time I'm in the middle of it, like, this is harder than I got weight.
Bullshit. I thought this was going to be easier.
Change my body.
And
composition.
then each day it builds on what he did the day before.
And
As
that's all
in,
an app?
it's an app. And so it knows he's done chest and bis tonight. So tomorrow when he's in Denver and he puts it in, it will maybe legs and abs.
It won't give me chest. So you did that this week. You can't do it.
And then it also, the thing he was bitching about yesterday is it also knows what he can do rep and weight wise. So it builds on that. And he said yesterday he came upstairs and he was like, Fitbod actually believes in me more than I believe in myself. I should not be curling 50-pound dumbbells.
30s and 35s. It gave me 45s, and I was like,
No, thank you.
my form is done. My form is gone. I go, my elbows are hurting. I go, Fitbod, back off.
You guys got to get in the mic.
Yep.
So it's a personalized workout routine that's based on your goals, your fitness level, and whatever equipment you might have. It adapts as you improve. Add Fitbod to your workout essentials. Get guns like that. Join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan. You get 25% off your subscription, or you can try the app for free at fitbod.me/Titus. That's FITBOD.me/Titus. So it's like $79.99 for the whole year. You get 25% off of that for 365 days. I used to pay Amber, my trainer, $85 per session.
I paid $80 a session.
It's insane.
And I work out all the time, and it tracks me. So now when I look at the calendar at the end of the month, I am either embarrassed or
So I don't appreciate you guys removing all of my excuses.
That's what it
I'm
did.
not a fan of that.
Yeah, now you don't have to drive anywhere.
Right, I don't appreciate that.
I still have the.
You don't have to have cute clothes
See,
anymore.
I don't like that.
You
Yeah.
can't say I don't know what I'm
I don't know
doing
what I'm
because they give
doing.
you videos for every.
Not a fan.
Yep.
Not a fan.
You can't say I worked out this
excuses.
week, and you go, oh.
You
No,
can't
dude.
say I can't afford a membership. You're done.
Yeah.
Jeff, get fit, bud.
Yeah, it's great.
Great.
But you get my point. Like we are now. It's a different time. We've all moved forward. You know, although I would say we learn from our past, and I'm fine with that. What I am not noticing the Republicans do is learn from theirs. And to be honest,
think they have
Joe
to.
Biden's stimulus, the second stimulus, that was much bigger checks. People can. What is the disconnect? Because I've been hearing this from the Black community recently. What's the disconnect with Biden? Does it
Do
go
you
back
really
just to 94? Yeah, I want to know. I want to know because
I
I
don't
don't
think
get
you
it.
want to know.
I do. 100% want to know.
So
And why Trump though? And why pick Trump over this guy who obviously has been a public servant his whole life?
So when you first say you have to forgive the past,
No, I didn't say forgive it. You just have to understand that
Understand
at
it.
that time, yeah.
but then you also say he's been a public servant. So you want to first count his resume,
Mhm.
but not hold on to the stuff that has harmed you.
Well, he was also the pick of the first black president. So if you want to say 94 has all that weight, I think being Obama's right-hand guy has more weight than that, don't you?
So let me tell you about my relationship with Joe Biden. So I always tell people like expectation is the death of love.
Yeah.
Right. When you expect someone to be something and then they can't live up to that. Like I expected my mom to be a mom.
Right.
So then when she didn't, then I can't love her. So once I released the whole expectation. So mind you, my grandfather, his name was Joe. Love of my life. He Irish Catholic. Okay. He was the one that when I was like, Poppy, don't send me back over there to these bad people. He was the one that explained to me that there's no way you can get drugs from Colombia to Newark, New Jersey as a Black person if you don't own a boat like I own, a trucking company like I own,
Right.
or like he was the one who did that. So looking at Joe Biden, I had these blinders up of like, no, like he's like my grandfather. Like he cares about people. But I think the issue is that when it came down to now, right now, when people are saying you can forgive him because he's learned under Obama. He's learned it. Like he's learned his lesson. He's out there. He's done.
I disagree with this. Like, he didn't learn. He in '94 within the Clinton administration, they were trying to stop crime. That's what they all thought they were doing. No one was saying we're going to fuck up Black people. No one was saying that. That's what ended up happening. And I understand that the Black population would totally believe that or get that. But at the time, you got to remember the American public was demanding it. And LA specifically was demanding it. We needed a crime bill.
But I think in any relationship, when you live in this country, right, and you have white leaders and the American public demanding things, if you don't stop and look at the nuances on who it's going to hurt, then you haven't learned your lesson. So let's put the crime bill aside. Now let's look at our borders, okay? And so in this day and age, we know we're supposed to do something different for our borders. I think it's odd that we are on stolen land. I'm indigenous. And then telling someone else that they're illegal. I think that's the oddest thing. Like I come take your house and then I tell other people.
It's only white people doing it.
Right. But the other thing is that when push comes to shove, Black and brown people will always be on the bargaining table. When push comes to shove. And I'll give you a few examples. So now you look at the border. We had everything set up. Obama has, sent more people back than any other president. Did all of these things.
Yep.
And when it came down to Biden needing support, because I recorded it, I screen recorded what he was saying. Biden needing support for Ukraine, then the bargaining chip was brown people crossing the border. When it comes to anything that's happening when the powers that be, we will always be the bargaining chip. You brought up Stacey Abrams. Love her to death. Everyone's saying, where is she? And I think as Black women,
well, she's put like at one point she deserves a break.
Yeah, but I feel like as Black women, we are the target and the shield of America.
True that.
Everyone targets us. Like you're not professional enough. Your hair isn't this. All these things. You have an attitude.
You're angry.
You're angry.
Yeah, you can't.
You're
right.
angry.
Yeah.
And then shield us from all the stuff that we've done. Make sure you turn Georgia blue so we can get.
I don't
Biden.
I don't agree. I don't think that necessarily goes together. And I often think that that's women in general. I think women are often. I've been told you're shrill. I get all that.
Yeah.
She was. She's been like singing Stacey.
Women in general, Black women. I used to do a bit about this. Have the absolute shit into the stick in this country and will always, it seems to me, until something changes, be last to benefit from anything or get credit for anything.
But they also can literally cause a shift, and we saw it with Stacey Abrams.
Oh yeah,
Stacey Abrams is a badass.
They said the Black women were one of in the election were one of the things that helped push Biden up.
The other person who I said 6 years ago, the person that's going to take Donald Trump down, mark my words, is going to be Tish James. You look at the person that turned his divorce case was when we finally got a Black female judge, somebody who was going to drop the hammer and not give a shit because that person had to kill herself to get to where she was. It wasn't right. Exactly.
Michelle Court. Yeah. Amazing.
Honorable Michelle Court.
I think that it's the lack of protections.
Yeah.
I'm always saying that we're a bargaining chip.
So you're saying when the Republicans say we need the border fixed, Biden was, all right, we're going to give you, they would need border fix. I want Ukraine funding. He said, we need the border fix. He said, okay. We'll sell out on these people. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's the point you're making.
Here's my question. Why would that be Biden's fault?
Right. That's what I want to know.
What I see it
I'm
as.
just saying he said that.
But what I see it as is the chip that Republicans are always fighting for is against Black and brown people, Muslims coming into the country.
But you're blaming Biden, though.
So
no, I'm not blaming him. I'm saying his words. His words when he came out into one of these things said, I need funding for Ukraine. So if the Republicans will give me, if I have to deal with the border to get funding for Ukraine, then that's what we'll do.
But that's because that's all those old white men want.
So I'm saying, like, if it's for me, like,
but I still don't.
It's the bargaining. Like, so you're saying if he wanted something else.
I hear your point. Your point. I'm saying the problem with our entire system is specifically right now. On the right, we have. I listen. I've done a lot of research into Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a good human being. He is a good human being. He also knows how to get shit done for 29 years. Sorry, take that back. 50 years. He's been in it for 50 years. 40. Is that? She started when he was 29 and he's 80 now.
Holy crap.
So he knows how it works. And here's how it works. You got these people, especially now, the right wing is so far right, it's crazy. And I've said this before, we're going to find out that there's that Trump, because Trump, Roy Cohn used to be Trump's dad's lawyer, right? Roy Cohn was one of the darkest, most evil motherfuckers in the world. Hoover, he's one of my friends with Hoover. I will tell you this. Trump has so much shit on everybody because why would everybody react to this dumbass? He's obviously a moron. There's obviously so much evidence he has on people because they keep going for him and he's losing. He can't even pull barely 50% of his own party right now. So then you've got you've got these Republicans. Biden does want to get stuff done. CHIPS Act, whatever. When we had the Democrats, we got a lot done. But now we don't. We don't have the House. So Biden has to negotiate. So how does he negotiate? What does he say instead of they're saying the border? He says, okay, the border. We'll get the border handled. We need to help Ukraine because Putin's going to take Germany. So it's not as black and white as he just gave up brown people for that. It's like you got these guys are demanding. That's all they want. The Republicans are demanding he do something or else nothing gets done. So we possibly have because by the way, I would tell her world wars are creeping. They don't happen on Tuesday.
What you're saying is he treats black and brown people like pieces of meat. This episode brought to you by Butcher Box.
Yeah, nice. She does it. By the way, we always see how creative she can get into a commercial. How creative can Ray get into it? Very nice, by the way. Weird, but okay.
Love Butcher Box. Just ordered Butcher Box yesterday again. Highlander and I both were placing our orders. Do you know what this one is?
I do.
Oh my
gosh.
Awesome. This is like...
I don't eat meat.
I love... Okay. Oh. This is one. Well, they have.
But Jeff does, so I'll get something.
And they have non-meat options. Okay. This is one of my favorite companies because you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to go to the grocery store. They deliver this to you. You can create your own box or they will curate one for you, send it to you. You don't have to leave your house. They have 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood, humanely raised, no antibiotics or added hormones. You can taste the difference.
Yeah. The chicken's amazing.
It just has like a cleaner taste to it. I got my dad this for Father's Day, and my dad has never been happier with a gift since I was born.
Because of Butcher Box, we ended up getting a garage freezer.
Yes,
so then we have.
Actually, that was because of Trump. We thought we were going to have to stockpile,
and we were right. The stores were empty.
We have Butcher Box in our freezer and 25-pound bags of rice and MREs in our garage.
Thank you,
which
Donald
means,
Trump.
As Bill Burr would say, we're going to be the first to be killed. So you guys just go on their website. They also have new recipe ideas and things like that. But this has made me try different things, cook different things other than what my same old boring things. So yesterday I ordered scallops, which I know you say differently.
Scallops.
You say
scallops.
I know it's scallops.
Scallops.
Scallops. I will say I was with my sister in Boston and she said scallops, and I was like, how do we grow up together and say it differently?
Because you're wrong. The rest of the world says it right.
What's the thing that you throw for the dogs at night?
A ball?
Okay. And then how do you say, I'm going to pick up my phone and blank you?
Cal?
No, I thought you were going to say Bal, to be honest. So you guys got to try ButcherBox. It's also a lot more affordable than buying it at the grocery store. Go to, the deal that they're doing now, it's changed actually. You can eat better this year because you can meal prep, which is what Highlander does. You make stuff ahead of time, eat healthier in 2024. Eat better this year with the best meat and seafood on the planet delivered to your door. ButcherBox is offering our listeners your choice of a weeknight meal essential. 3 pounds of chicken thighs, 2 pounds of ground beef, or 1 pound of premium steak tips for free in every order for an entire year. Plus, you get $20 off your first order. Just sign up today at butcherbox.com/Titus. Use promo code Titus. Choose your free offer and get $20 off your first box.
Company.
It's a great company.
By the way, with this,
free shipping too.
Our guest, Carmenita
Helligar.
Helligar. I was going to say Hellburger. I was going to say because of burger.
Hellburger.
Helligar. So, running for state assembly. Back to what I want to talk about. What I found in our politics, and this is since I was a little kid, and until I got into politics, everybody wants a simple solution. It's this guy's fault. It's this guy's fault. As you get into how our system works, the democratic system works. And by the way, your point about through history, brown and black people have been used as chips constantly. Slavery was. We started a civil war because of it.
Women just lost their rights to bodily autonomy.
And women too. You're right. The only people who don't seem to get jammed up is white males.
Yes.
Hi guys, I'm Christopher Titus. My podcast. The point is this.
It's our podcast.
Right. It's our podcast. You're so good on it. Anyway, what I want to You're so cute. You're pretty.
You do know I will kill you.
I know. That's why I'm doing the joke so people
In
can
public.
see why I was killed. There you go. There's the motive.
Nobody would defend you.
But we have a system that basically and what you have is a system, especially right now. Mm-hmm. We have the most inept Republican Party I believe we've ever had in my lifetime, anyway. And they're demanding. Biden's not saying. Okay, I'll get rid of all the Mexican people. Right. They're demanding it, and the only way he can get to stop a world war. Because by the way, we're on the way to a world war. Iran, and we've got China. We got China and Taiwan. Syria. That's the thing. People always think, it's not going to be a world war. No, we're in it, fuckers.
We just hasn't been announced.
It's not announced.
It's creeping.
I told my husband the other day, they did not announce World War One.
No,
or two.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Kind of Hawaii did. Kind of. But it was already. We were well into the war. We just weren't into it. We weren't into it. They had to attack Hawaii. But I'm just saying.
I do want to ask. And bring back to California, though.
Yeah.
Like the Republican Party, I understand what you're saying. On a national level, a federal level, I do understand what you're saying. But in California, we have had the majority since 1996 of Democrats. So what is happening there?
Yeah. So what do you think? What by the way, because California is such a double-edged sword too.
It is.
Because the rest of the country holds us up at this crazy bastion of liberalism. And then I live here and I go up 99. The crazy bastion of liberalism up to a point.
Or go south to Orange County.
Or live
in Burbank.
Or live in Burbank. Right. Burbank. Oh my God.
Live in Burbank. Put your kids in Burbank schools.
Yeah. Or get pulled over as a black or brown person in Burbank.
I'm just saying, our new police chief is amazing.
Oh, good. Because Burbank had a rep forever.
Oh, yes.
Forever.
Oh, yes. Burbank's police department was going to be taken over twice by the feds because of and we now have a new police chief. We have an oversight board that's been looking over them for 10 years. Our new police chief is amazing. Our officers are well trained.
Good.
But that wasn't
much more community friendly.
A lot of people don't know Burbank has its own police department. It's separate from LAPD.
And in 2020, the public got together and was like, hey, how about we do a proclamation that this is no longer a sundown town? So
that would be nice.
That was 2020.
Wow.
And so
wow.
Yeah. So and
this century, that. Right?
Yeah. 2020.
Oh my God.
And so I don't want people to think like I think where do we I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I didn't sorry to interrupt. Where is California falling down? That's what I want to get your point here. Where are we falling down?
because you're right. If we've had we should have universal health care. We should have especially with the money we have. We should have universal health care. We should have universal pre-K. We should have, if we're going to be the bash, listen, I'll take all the bullshit from Ohio if we had it, but we don't. Right. So everyone thinks we're this.
And when you look at in 2022, one of the assembly members, I forgot their name, was about to put to a vote universal health care. And then did not bring it to the floor because they reported that they did not have the votes. How do you not have the votes in a super majority? Now it's a super majority. It's been a majority.
Now we're going to talk about Citizens United, right? Because here's what I say.
Take it away.
Do you know what California needs? California needs to have some serious laws so people can't walk into a store and fill a bag full of shit up. And then we need to have health care too, because maybe if we had universal health care, people wouldn't go in the store to steal a whole bag of shit.
And covered California was shit anyway.
But this liberal, I think California is doing liberalism the wrong way. It's the pronouns and like letting people and not arresting people for shoplifting. And not giving us help instead of healthcare, pre-K, education, free education. Because by the way, I always say education is national security. If people, you guys want to have the best country in the world, you got to train the children because they're going to be the next adults. You want to survive as an old person? If you educate those children, they're going to be able to take care of you when you get older.
Thank you.
It's they're going to invent the new products. They're going to invent the new weapons. They're going to invent the new security systems. Education is national security. Period.
Yes.
So we have a super majority of Democrats, and we're not getting it done.
No.
Right.
And that is a choice. Like, I don't think people understand that is a choice. I think that if you look at where they get their money from, big oil, big corporations,
big pharma,
these PACs, that's what they're getting. If you look at these, moderate Democrats that's been in there,
weapons manufacturers.
Yeah. Like we had Lockheed in Burbank for years. Burbank is the number 2 in America besides Florida. Burbank, the city, has more gun stores than any other place.
I just found that this weekend. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I was looking for my
Ohio,
brother.
Hear that?
To be fair, I was looking for my brother because he wanted to show me this gun that he got. And I looked online thinking there would be one. He's a federal agent. He should have them. And it was the craziest. I couldn't believe it. I kept thinking, surely some of these are the same store. Or no. It's like
we have something called Gun World.
Yes, that's the one.
World.
Yep.
But I feel like it's a choice. And I think that is the main reason why is no accountability.
But it's always money, though.
It's always money.
Right,
and then you have people like me running grassroots and be like, can you donate? Can you do this so I can get through the primaries? I think it's also a setup that you have people running and they have their chosen people that are already know they're going to get that seat, and they get these endorsements and and you go through these questionnaires, and I've gotten people be like, you're great, like everything you stand for, but you don't really have a chance to win. I'm like, yeah, because voters vote. That's who matters.
Because you just said that.
Right.
Yes.
Why you said you have a chance to win. Yeah, let's get behind her. Yes.
Yeah. Like, just get behind me. And also, I think it's no accountability. I love when people question when they're like, how do we get to this point of universal child care? Okay, let's look at New Mexico. A year before they put it on the ballot, what they did was they retrained daycare centers. They raised the minimum wage for daycare workers. They did all of this foundational work. And then they put it on the ballot, and they moved $150 million over into a fund of taxpayer money, and now it's universal child care.
Well, people don't understand when you hear that. I hate what the right says all this time. It's well, first of all, the universal child care gives parents freedom to actually make more money. It also gives them freedom to have healthier lives. And especially if you raise the wage of those workers, I wish people understood that the one thing they really don't teach in school is economics. When you start to learn how economics really works, you realize that, and by the way, I'll say this, on the union jobs and backing the unions, The reason the economy is growing because no one has done what he's done with the economy in 40 years, which is built, he says, middle out. So all these union workers now got their raises. They all got better. So what's happening is, well, how come everybody's making money? Because people have money to spend. That's how the economy works. These guys are making more money. They're not surviving, not just barely making it every month. They have extra money. You know what they're doing? They're buying new refrigerators. They're buying new. And so that's how the economy is working. If people but they don't teach economics in school.
They don't teach economics.
Because then people would make their own money and corporations wouldn't have workers.
And corporations. So you look at UPS, right? They went through that strike. They got all of this. Their union stood up for them.
Right.
And so they all are having these 6-figure things for delivery work. They had all of this greatness. Yeah. And then they just laid off how many people last week? 12,000, something like that. So then the corporate people just like, nope.
Yeah.
So where's that law? Where's that legislation that when you decide on something, you cannot let anyone go. Let's say 4 years. Like you have to start.
But
we don't legislate against big giant corporations that lobby because of Citizens United into their pockets.
Well, because so here's how it works. And you tell me. Okay, so Citizens United did this thing where they said corporations are now people. So corporations can now give as much money as they want to any political person, right? Through PACs. Now PACs are this like middleman, this little drug dealer thing, middleman. So here's how it works. So let's say Citizens United, let's say Lockheed. Okay, so Lockheed gives our defense contracts. I don't understand. This is where it bothers me. I'm sorry. I'm a little ADHD. $860 billion for weapons, $720 billion for the people. That seems a bit off.
Just a little bit.
Look, $300 billion for weapons, especially as big as our military is, to maintain it and give it a fine.
Hold on, let me give you the detail for that. $14,066,565 in 2023 lobbying. Go ahead.
What do you mean?
Over $14 million Lockheed Martin spent lobbying.
This last year?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what happened. So our government gives Lockheed and all the defense contractors $800 billion. Well, then those companies take that money and they give it back to our politicians for their PACs. That's
and
called the
money
fucking.
Is it?
It's our money. That's called the kickback.
I think that's what people don't understand.
Called the kickback.
When they say the government gave someone money, what you're saying is the government gave our money.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
My
money.
That's correct.
Right. So when people whine like I'm not here, we don't want these programs where everyone gets healthcare, dude. That's your money. They got to cut Social Security. You paid into that since you were a child.
Defense contractors in the first half of 2023 spent $70 million lobbying ahead of the annual defense budget bill.
And by the way, look at the deal. How many billions did they get to develop? Let's say each of them got 50 billion. Sure, we'll flip out another 70 million to you guys. Here you go, Ted Cruz. Here you go. Boom, boom, boom. It's a kickback. Our whole system is built on kickback.
Pharmaceutical industry lobbied $373.74 million. Insurance industry, $158.45 million.
So I wonder why we don't have health care.
I don't get it.
But also is this system that's set up that people don't know about. Like I'm running, okay? And so did you get your ballot?
I got mine yesterday.
Okay,
his hasn't come yet.
Got your ballot?
I was on the phone. She was talking.
And what I
have to read all this.
Yes, you have to read all this.
It's homework.
Well, used to when I was a kid, I'd just be like Democrat. Right. But it's way more nuanced than that.
So now you look at your ballot, and it came out, and California is one of the states where you can turn in other people's ballots. Did you know that? And so you can collect them and turn them in, and And so,
what does that mean? Like I could literally get someone else's ballot.
I could take yours.
Well, that part is illegal.
But how are you going to know?
But how are you going to know? And so I had never really understood that, because our family made it a big deal to go in person and vote.
I want my
sticker.
You get your sticker in the mail. I got mine.
Oh, it's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
I want a 95-year-old woman to go, here's your sticker.
Yes.
So I want the piece.
And then put it on every time they turn 18. I need that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've had grandparents who weren't able to vote. So I need that. Okay. But what I found was that when you look at certain numbers, you're like, how did these people get this many votes? Like, how did all these ballots, where are they getting this from? And so I started looking up like ballot harvesting, and I really want to make it clear on your show, and I talk about this all the time, is check on your parents who are in nursing homes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that even if they're not voting,
that they're not voting.
No one
right.
is turning in their ballot or taking their ballot.
Do you think it's a big problem? Because
it's a huge problem.
Well, how big? How many? What are the numbers on it? Because they did that. They did all the.
You may not have health care, but you can have great skin care. This episode brought to you by OS1.
OS1. I got it on my face right now.
I do too. Valentine's Day is around the corner. This is an awesome gift to give someone, male or female, for Valentine's Day, or if you just want to look good on Valentine's Day because you're lonely, maybe that's why.
By the way, as a dude who I'm not a big, like, you just spend a lot of time on your skincare and it obviously pays off because you're gorgeous. I, on the other hand, I use this stuff, and I used to use whatever, cow fat, plap, or whatever I would, WD-40, whatever made it feel okay. This stuff is so different. This stuff is so different.
It's so different. OS1 peptide is what's inside of it. That's why it's called OS1. It is the first ingredient scientifically proven in clinical trials to reduce the buildup of senescent cells, which are those dead zombie cells. Well, you know about skincare. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that contribute to skin aging visibly. If you have less of those, that means you have healthier, younger looking skin, less lines and wrinkles, less age spots, and a stronger moisture barrier, which is very important, especially if you live somewhere dry like we do. It's a bunch of female PhDs got together and actually spent years researching and testing things in a lab and found this OS1 peptide. The scientists found that the OS1 peptide reverses skin's biological age by reducing those senescent cells by up to 50%. And they had a third-party clinical trial, and they found that it was clinically proven to strengthen the skin barrier, improve skin health markers, and diminish visible signs of aging. Wrinkles diminished in 87% of users. I use the OS1 body, the OS1 eye, and the OS1 face.
And your skin is dewy.
Thank you, sir.
Can confirm.
On my knees,
my
butt cheeks.
On the other hand, I just look. I'm just pretty. All I know is I'm pretty.
You're pretty.
I mean, I'm happy for you. Okay? That is.
You keep believing in yourself like that, Titus.
So happy for you.
Do me a favor. I want to hear.
What I love about this, I have to bring it home, is that you can keep the container and get the refill, so you don't have all that plastic going into landfills. OneSkin is more than skincare. It's about skin longevity, and it doesn't have perfumes and stuff. It doesn't irritate my skin. It targets the root cause of aging to help you look and feel your best at any age. You can get started today with 15% off using promo code Titus at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with promo code Titus. At the end, after you purchase, you go in and buy the first time, they're going to ask you where you heard about OneSkin. Show some love and put Titus Podcast so that they'll know that we sent you. It's time to expect more from your skincare routine. Invest in the health of your skin and look like Christopher Titus with OneSkin. Oh my God.
Sorry, this is Mark. Can you, because by the way, you have a lot of insight into what do you, if people want simple, what would you say your, I hate this word, platform is?
My platform is all based in equity and the difference between equality and equity, right? So to ensure that all Californians have a well-lived life, they have housing, they have food, and they have healthcare, and healthcare includes mental health as well. Mm-hmm. That is the key. But I always tell people that it does not matter what I stand for if we don't get this climate crisis under control. We can pass whatever law we want. If we don't have a planet, none of this is going to matter. Like it's not going to matter. And my my campaign is really based on the quote that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children.
Right.
Much better.
So whatever, to simplify it, is whatever you are doing right now, understand that you are borrowing it from your children, your grandchildren. You're just borrowing. Or you can make decisions today to put people in power, to stay involved. It's not just 2024. Like, stay involved with your vote in your local things. Vote as many times you can.
Go to school board
Go
meetings.
to school board.
Yeah.
Again, it's
Go to
national
school.
security.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be part of it. You can't. I agree with you on this. You don't get to bitch if you're not involved.
Thank you.
But if you're involved, I'll listen. I'll listen.
I'm there.
Yeah. I wanted to say about the climate change. Bill Gates put out a statement which was really interesting. You remember the hole in the ozone thing that was going on years ago, and it was a big deal. We're going to have the razor coming through. So we passed all those CFC laws. Do you know what the difference is in CFCs in the atmosphere now compared to what it was then? It's 99% less than it was. 99%. Wow. The hole in the ozone is closed up.
Turns out it just took some legislation.
And it took 30 years, but still, I mean, it's the planet. It's not going to happen overnight. Everybody wants, you can't do this and fix the planet. It's going to take a minute. And so it does work. And I love that because by the way, we see other countries do it. This is what bothers me about healthcare and stuff. My sister lives in Sweden. And she's like, yeah, you just go. You know how they do their taxes in Sweden?
I love
the government sends you a thing, and it says, "Did you make this much this year?" And you go, "Yes." And they
click
go,
yes or no.
Here's these what we think your taxes are. Do you agree with this? Yes. And then you go, "Okay, thanks. Your taxes are paid. It's done on your phone.
Done for you.
Done for you." And
so, Carmenita, if you want to learn more about what her platform is and get signed up so that you can find out what's going on with her, vote Carmenita, it's like Carmen, ITA, Helligar, HELLIGAR.com. You can find out that she was Congressman Adam Schiff's Woman of the Year.
We love
voted
Schiff.
For him yesterday.
Yeah, we love Schiff.
Katie Porter for the
Tell us about Schiff.
other.
What's he like personally? Good dude?
I think he's a good dude. When he called me for this whole award thing, I think I was the only person that said to him, out of all the years he's been doing this, I didn't do anything. I was like, I don't know what you've heard. I didn't do anything. Why are you calling my phone?
What did he say?
And he said he laughed so hard. Like, it was hilarious how he laughed. He was like, I've never heard that.
God, a politician with humble. That's weird.
Right. He was
How weird is that?
No, he was like, a group of people sent in letters about the work you were doing in Burbank for our schools, for our small businesses. And we want to honor you in that. And so you go to this lunch and he's there and it's all these women, and you get to tell your story and your activism. And, but yeah, I know I was the only person. I was like, look, can you imagine someone calling? You're like, what?
You got to get some arrogant on you. You need if you're going to be a politician, you got to be a little more. Please, Jeff, get her some more arrogant on her. She needs a little, you got to have a little arrogant on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that you want to change, like, what do you think about when it comes to healthcare? The only way to change it, when the pharmaceuticals are giving, over $250 million to our politicians, you're not going to change it. The only thing that needs is what we need to do: term limits and money out of politics.
Money out of politics.
Because then what will happen is you'd get people that gave a shit about the country and the people, as opposed to people that give a shit about power and the money.
Yes.
The only way to do it is to get rid of it. And if you can't, Chuck Grassley needs to go. Dianne Feinstein needs to go. You guys,
she did go.
I know she did, but she's still in. She went and she was still there. That's what I'm saying. She wasn't done.
I don't think people should be dying in office.
100%.
I think they should have a retirement age.
What about Strom Thurmond? Strom Thurmond's aide was voting for him. He was like drooling on himself.
And that's on both sides. It's like,
agreed.
Listen.
That's what I said.
Why don't we have this California has term limits, just so you know. California has term limits. A lot of people don't know that.
How many?
12. It's 4 terms.
So 4 years?
Yeah.
So you can do 16 years still.
Well, no.
I would go 12.
Yeah, I think it's 12 years that you can do, depending on like Senate, thing like that. You can only.
But that, by the way, I'm fine with that because listen, 2 years in the House is not really enough to get anything. You got to start. So you
Lifetime
get elected,
maximum of 12 years.
but here's the thing in the House of Representatives: you get elected, and then you got to start running for again. You got 2 years. I that seems weird to me. But I don't think anybody who's in for 35 years, you're just become part of the system. You're not helping.
Yeah,
you're not helping.
And I think that it's so many innovative people who are running who are never heard from. Yeah. I am only blessed to be sitting here because of my husband and the relationships that he has of being a good person and meeting people and talking to them. But there are plenty of people when you look at a ballot, and I'm always thinking like, I know this person, like she really cares, but it's all these backdoor deals that people have no idea that this seat is already promised to someone. So how dare you have the audacity to go run? Like, but you're not supposed to do it. You know how many times I got called? I got 7 calls that said, please don't run. Don't do this to, I'm not going to name the person. Don't do this to this particular person. They've worked so hard their entire life.
What have you? What
I said, and I did nothing.
Right.
Like people don't understand. It's this machine.
Hell, I got 12 years of a podcast. Come on.
You know what you're doing. But that's what I'm saying. It's like these people out there of this in this machine. And I tell people this system is not broken. It works perfectly for who it was designed for.
Exactly.
It's not broken. The people on top,
it's working exactly how it was built.
Working exactly.
Well, I think Newsom's. I love Gavin Newsom, but I think Newsom's a perfect example of it. Perfect example of it, you know. And by the way, and good politician. He, San Francisco, and then governorship. You can see system. You're right. The system works perfectly.
Yeah. For who is so like it's like, and so when you try to change something,
but how do you do that? What do you think? Now that you've been in it, how do you change it?
You bring light to things like ballot harvesting. You bring light to grassroots people. Like, don't accept the status quo.
Because vote in the primaries.
Vote in the primaries.
People,
if you
want a better choice, vote in the primaries, because that's where no one seems to pay attention. I'm going to vote in the regular election.
All those names
then you only get the one choice.
They're all going to go away.
435 seats are up for the House this year. Wow. 435. So people are like, oh, in November, we're going to vote them out. I'm like, no, because in certain places, if you get 50% plus 1 vote, you're the only name on the November ballot.
Wow.
So if no one is voting in your primaries, then that's who's getting. So even now, it's 8 people, I guess, in where I'm running, and only 2 make it through. So, and you're running against, Republicans and Democrats. And so
Carmenita Helligar.
Yes. Give them Helligar.
Yeah, give him Helligar. Yes, give him Helligar. Brad Sherman, our guy in our district, I don't know what he does. And our power keeps going out all the time.
We don't know who he is.
And I'm like,
you've never met him?
No.
Never met him. And he's been there forever. And I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Never seen him.
Never seen him. Like, we've seen Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that. Look, let me know who you are. Does it, man? And like our power in a nice neighborhood goes out all the time. And I'm like, shouldn't my dude be handling that? Shouldn't he do something about it? Figure out why? At least send out a letter?
I have been writing letters since I was a teenager to the White House. Okay. I have been writing letters and getting on the phone with people in the governor's mansion since I was a teenager. Like, because that's how my grandfather was like, they work for you. Like, you have to do that.
Do you know it works? Can I give you a little example? So we had 2 murders. We had a murder across the street from the studio, and we had a kidnapping. And then that house became like this crack house. And the guy that owns the building, I got frustrated with it. And I was like, I finally said, so I call, here's how weird our government is. I call the city councilman,
Kurgarian.
And I call and I go, and she goes, well, what do you want us to do? And I go, you're my representative. My business is getting affected. I want you to handle it. And I called them like 3 times. And then she said, next time you call the LA, call the North Hollywood PD. So I called North Hollywood PD. North Hollywood PD said to me, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Explain to me. How should we handle it? And I went, you're the police. I'm a comedian. There's a crime. I just watched 4 guys in a Dodge Charger buy drugs and drive away. What do you mean? What do you do? Do you have a book? Are you a cop? And what's happened is, as a society, we have put our faith into people that don't give a shit. So we need people like you who give a shit. And you need to stand, I mean, and don't let us down when you get there.
Oh no. And I'm the type, my husband always calls me tell something, like, because he's like, the thing about it is they don't want you up there because you're going to be telling people what's really happening. Like, you're going to be like, so do you know I tried to put this to vote and I got 7 phone calls that said don't put it to vote. Like, I'm going to be
like the guy in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm telling.
But like,
he
social media.
He gets on. So, and I was like,
great.
that's who I'm going to be. I'm going to be like, so
let me tell you what's really going on.
Let me tell you what's really going on. So that's why my husband's like, don't say that too loud because.
But OAC,
you have to.
but here's it. There can be some breakthrough. OAC, I think, broke through.
AOC.
Mm-hmm.
AOC, sorry, she broke through. There's a few. Katie Porter broke through. Schiff is so mild mannered, but he kind of, there's. Schiff's part of the old guard, though. When you say a little bit, but Katie Porter isn't.
And I think when you look at that Senate race,
it's an upsetting Senate.
You have Barbara Lee, right?
Yep.
But if we could just back up, when Newsom was going through the recall, the Black Caucus was promised, the support to make sure he gets to the recall, that one of the Senate seats would be held by a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so Padilla wasn't a Black woman.
Right.
And then when Feinstein did not step down, chose to pass away in office, Newsom did keep his word by putting in LaFonza, who's amazing. But you have Barbara Lee running, right? And no matter what, when I tell you of being, that's the perfect example of being a target and the shield. Because even from 9/11, 20 years ago, she's not for wars.
Yeah.
Today, she's not for wars.
Right.
She hasn't changed her spirit, no matter, even though she was the lone person who
she's
was
always
like,
who she says she is.
She was the one. Yeah.
She was the one. She was the one.
And now
can you
everyone's
imagine
like,
back
ew.
then when we changed it from French fries to freedom fries, that you had to get up there and say no?
Yeah.
Do you know what strength that has to take, and the death threats and stuff like that?
Oh man, and Trump's made death threats part of it. De rigueur.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I always look. I'm like that. When I look at someone like her, I always say to myself, like, that's who I try to be, is that no matter what, no matter if I'm the lone person, it's okay to be the lone person.
Right. It's not who you try to be. It's who you are.
Oh,
you always
right.
got to be like, part of the reason I have some issues in show business because I'm always who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I've worked on it. I'm better at diplomacy, but my diplomacy is just be quieter. Shut up.
Right.
Shut the hell up. And it still doesn't always
It
work.
hasn't worked yet, but
Guys,
he's a work in
so
progress.
we want you, people, do me a favor. In California ballots, when you go, you vote in the primary. Very important because
March
then you
5th.
March
because
5th.
then you get a choice. So grab those ballots at home in the mail, fill it out. Carmenita Helligar.
Give him
Helligar.
Helligar. There you go.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you
I
for
think
having
local
me.
politics, and all of you out there, for God's sakes, get involved in local politics. Even like we did the Salvation Army thing.
Mhm.
Listen, you can't bitch about it if you aren't willing to get involved in it. You can bitch, but you're just useless.
He gets involved and he bitches. That's what he does.
Because
but at least
no.
you've earned your right.
Yeah, exactly. I want by the way, I love bitching so much. I get the right to bitch. That's what I want. and I'm helping.
We're together on the shoe's going to drop. So don't, we're going to get like universal health care. We're going to get that. And I'm going to call you and be like, so what's really going to happen?
Yeah. Okay. What's the twist here?
What's the twist here? We got what we wanted.
Well, when are they going to bring the hammer down? We got health care.
We got health care. And we
what
got
are they taking?
Child care.
What are they taking for?
And our climate is getting, all our manufacturing is.
something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Too many
That's a
right
set.
things.
But that's why I want to charge, because then you're always looking for the crack.
Yeah, yes.
You're always looking for the
Yeah.
crack.
I'm going to pray for both of you.
All right. Thanks for being on. We'll wrap it up.
Thank
We'll
you
wrap
so
it up
much.
with Ken. We got to do our final thing.
Yay.
Thank you so much. Yay. Thank you, baby.
Can I?
Ken Highland, come back. It's not that. I've timed it. We're not that long. We're not any longer than we usually are.
Fun facts.
Wait, it's time for Highlanders Fun Facts. It's
Highlanders Fun Facts.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys are going on a trip tomorrow, today, or maybe today.
I like that you always turn into an announcer.
Right.
You guys are going on a trip. Here's my fun fact for today.
Everybody, welcome. Tripophobia is the fear of closely packed holes.
I don't even. This is.
See?
I have trypophobia.
See? Or more specifically, an aversion to the sight of irregular patterns or clusters of small holes or bumps.
What is it called again? What
So
kind
it
of
actually has nothing to do with trips.
It's probably called trypophobia, but
Okay.
it's more fun. It's more fun fact.
Well,
I-
no,
I just-
because
I
it confused me because I
I-
thought it was
again-
phobia of trips.
I thought it was phobia of packed holes, I don't even like those two words together.
Well, I was trying to figure out how a trip was a packed hole, and it just wasn't. It wasn't the most fun I've
Get on a
ever
plane.
had
It sounds
during
like it
a
was
fact.
drunk psychologist. That's the name of this. That's the name of this. What kind of phobia? Trypophobia. Bumps and packed holes. Just put it in the book. Just put it in the book.
We're gonna be headlining Comedy Works on the
Tomorrow night.
Well, I don't want to say tomorrow
Well,
because
we'll put it out today. So
I
you
don't
get it.
know. On the 7th, and then we'll be together 8th, 9th, and 10th.
At Denver Comedy Works.
Yeah, Comedy Works South
And
at the
then-
Landmark, our home club,
Niagara Falls.
and then Niagara Falls,
And then
who knew? And then Austin.
Austin.
So get tickets. Go to ChristopherTitus.com/tour to see where we're going to be coming up.
Guys, I want to thank our guest, Carmenita Helligar. I love local politics. I think it's important because you have to start somewhere, and that's where it's funny. It seems where that's the most difference is made in people's lives.
Yeah.
So thank you for having her on. For myself, the lovely Bombshell Ray and the Highlander. Later.
Peace out.
Make it be the one.